Gentlemen, this will be real quick. Can you allow Shadow Priests to have their Shadow Form Shroud removed while mounted? And only on the mounts.
Well, we have something slightly better than that. We have a new minor glyph of Shadow Form that is going to reduce the alpha on Shadow Form, so you can actually see your gear. You'll still be dark, but you'll actually see the textures on the items. That's coming in 4.3.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That guy said thanks.
Okay, DK Tier 13, question marks?
I've seen it. It's awesome, and you guys will see it soon.
Okay, so on a follow-up, what about like a 1 through like, you know, DKs existed kind of a thing? Everybody can go back and get their tier gear, but DKs can only go back so far.
That's a much harder one. It's something that we would like to do, obviously, but it's expensive. Art takes a long time to make. Making it to the standard that you expect, that you see on your gear right now, is something that is really hard to do. And so, going back and going to like the dungeons and such like that, I think that at least should tide you over until you get a bunch of new interesting stuff in 5.0.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like I should qualify too, because I've gotten beat up before by using the expensive word. For us, it's a matter of budget, and if we ask for certain armor sets, we won't be able to get other armor sets, or else we have to like delay a patch or an expansion just to get that. So it's not a matter of we don't like throwing money at problems when that's a good solution to those problems, but we're usually thinking about it in terms of when are we actually going to get this patch or expansion out, and you guys are often really impatient, and understandably so we have to make hard choices sometimes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hey guys, I was wondering if you could put strength polearms in the game?
So, strength polearms have been one of those things that haven't had a niche because they don't work very well with Titan's Grip. You can't use them, and so when we're dropping a strength weapon, we want to make sure that all of those strength classes can use it. That said, going forward, now that hunters are sort of falling out, it's something that we can look at on, a case-by-case basis, and if we get a really cool piece of art that we want to make into a warrior and DK thing, we can do that.
Your panda poster art, he's dual-wielding polearms, so...
Well, the artists can do a lot of things that we can't.
Good answer.
Back in vanilla, you had the Hunter Epic quest line with Rockdalar. I was just wondering if you guys are going to bring that back at all.
So it's something that has actually come up internally. Relatively recently, one of our encounter designers was asking, would it be appropriate to go back and update it? So it's something that is actually something we're thinking about and looking at and considering. We want to make sure that if we do something like that, it actually lives up to the standards that you remember from level 60. And it's not just, we zapped the numbers up and now it's level 85. We want it to truly be up to that level of quality. And so that's why it hasn't yet. We're thinking about it. It might happen, it might not.
It's also worth noting that some of the more recent things that we've done for Dragon Wrath and for the 4.3 Rogue Daggers are very similar in terms of a personal, challenging solo experience. It's a trial that you have to overcome. And it's something that's accessible to players, even if you don't go all the way to the legendary step. Just getting the first step of the way there unlocks a lot of the cool solo gameplay, if that's the overall play style that you're looking for.
Thank you.
Hello. I've noticed that in the past, engineers have gotten to make some pretty cool stuff like wrist rockets and stuff. Well, by today's standards, those items are pretty much worthless pieces of junk. So I was wondering if we'll ever get to make some more powerful versions of those items, or maybe something else that's more fun to use, like, say, freeze ray, or some kind of mount that you can use underwater.
Yes, but one of the difficulties there is engineering devices are often as powerful as class abilities. And so the downside has to be, bad enough to make sure that everybody doesn't switch to engineering, since professions aren't permanent. But we've had a lot of discussions recently, and we are trying to put wackier stuff in, stronger stuff, and it's more going to be about maybe limiting where you can use it. And so we can just say, oh, hey, it's not allowed in PvP or whatever, and so we can go crazy with it. But yeah, we have a pretty cool suite of stuff that we're looking at for engineering this time.
Thank you.
Hi guys, Douglas from Musera. What's up, LMPT? Got a question about hunters. You said you're eliminating the use for the melee weapons. Are we still going to be able to equip them for show for like our legendaries? And also, I have the Sulphurous Hand of Ragnaros and I can't equip it. Any way we can get some mace love?
There aren't any plans for that right now. It seems like a lot of work for something you couldn't equip. That said, the melee equip, we're probably not going to let you do that. So at least right now, we don't have plans to let you equip those things in the past. We might find a way to make a special exemption for stuff that you were actually intended to have, like Thunder Fury.
If it makes you feel better, the rogues that are walking around with the orange legendary bow won't be able to equip that either.
That does make me feel better.
Ah, you got it. Thank you.
We do want to have to change the hunter so that you can see their quiver on their back permanently at all times, and if you have a gun, potentially like an ammo pouch, and then be able to change the art assets on those, to customize them. So it's something we've been talking about.
Hi. Illustrious Grandmaster Engineer Chow, Stormridge, two-time Mel. First, I got a question about engineering, kind of a follow-up to him. What happened? I mean, you make it so awesome, so exciting for that one patch, then it's kind of like you just forget about it, and every once in a while you put in that one weapon that I can't use because you're like, oh yeah, engineering's a profession also. But like the goggles, for instance, they are the trademark of engineering, and I was so excited to see those because you could use them for almost every class spec, and you had the cogwheels, but there's no upgrade for each tier. So do you plan on changing that or adding upgrades like that? And,
Go ahead and finish. Sorry.
and if your excuse is like all the fun, clever pets, I'd have to argue that archaeology is getting dangerously close to giving me more weapons and more fun pets than engineering.
Well, in answer to the question of what happened is probably so there was the reaction to engineering sucks, which was the explosion of awesomeness. And then there was the reaction to engineering is too good. And so it's been doing a bit of a pendulum swing there. Again, we really want to nail down our philosophy on that particular trade skill, which is, it could be its own class if we let it get away from us. And so, we are going to focus on that and make sure it offers a lot of really cool stuff. Sorry, I don't want to give away any examples right now because so many of them require complicated tech that may or may not happen. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of focus on it this time. So your concerns have been heard, and certainly if you guys have anything you really want to see, you should tell us. Get on the forums and make that giant post again. Can't believe I just said that.
I'm not sure how happy I am about that. Thank you.
All right, so first off, thank you very much for that priest talent that lets me swap my health percentage with one of my allies. I look forward to using that to kill my guildmaster many, many times.
Haven't already killed him with Leap of Faith?
What?
You haven't already killed him over and over with Leap of Faith?
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, now I have a new way to do it.
I don't think you'll be in your guild for long.
If he was going to kick me for it, he'd have done it by now. So for the actual question, how is monk healing going to work? Because when I was playing over there yesterday, you had chi, which is basically energy. Then you had light and dark power, which is basically holy power. And then looking at the character sheet, it's like intellect, this stat does nothing for you. Spirit, this stat does nothing for you. So is it going to be like I choose the healing spec and I get a mana bar and I start using intellect leather? Or would I heal with agility leather? Or would it be like I use intellect leather but I still have chi and dark and light power? How is that going to work?
It'll probably work where when you go into the healer stance, your key will change to mana, and you'll use mana for your healing spells, and your bar will change, similar to how like a druid does or a warrior. On the question of how will healing work, the two challenges we put for ourselves for the healer monk is let's try to make healing to where they can DPS, similar kind of like the Disc Priest with Atonement, and also what if majority of their healing spells they don't have to target anything? Because traditionally, with all healer specs, what you do is you have your grid or whatever, and you're clicking the dude and healing him or whatever. What if the monk was more kind of proximity, like I'm up near the dude and I heal him that way, and it's kind of like maybe it's like kind of like Holy Nova, but more single target and a lot stronger. And so the current pitch is that you're incredibly mobile as a healer, and you're in proximity of all the people you're healing, and yeah, you're just zipping around a raid, healing, and then you can also DPS the boss. And you also have this mechanic where you have these statues, and you can pre-place the statues around the raid, and anytime you DPS the boss, the statues emit healing near them. So there's gameplay of like, okay, I want to have my statue, you know, near all the melee or near the range and stuff like that. So we're definitely challenging ourselves to trying to deliver a different type of healer than what we've done before.
Thank you.
Sounds pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Hi, my question is about the level 90 shaman talents. You have a cooldown-based talent in the the elemental harmony, where you can put down 3 fire totems at once. That would be a huge DPS increase. The canceling of totems, that would be great for resto, and
Elemental Harmony probably was not going to apply to fire totems. That was not something that was clarified in the tooltip, precisely for the reason that you indicate, because that's a huge DPS increase. I think the intent there is more to have the flexibility to be able to say, I'm going to have my Earthbind totem and my Tremor totem down at the same time. I'm going to drop Mana Tide while I have my new Healing Tide totem also down, as opposed to just, oh sweet, I can drop like Searing and Fire Elemental and Magma all the time, and that gives X% DPS increase, therefore it's the correct choice anytime an enhancement or elemental. And for the cooldown one, I think that functions essentially as described. I think one of the great frustrations for many shamans with the totem mechanic is either in PvP it gets killed, or in PvE in many situations you need to pick up your totem or replace it before you've gotten the full effect out of it. And this way you can get a bit of a refund on that cost that you've had to pay.
Okay, thank you.
Good. All right, thanks.